Hello and welcome to this episode of Fix My File. Now today we're going to look at a Word document, and as you can see we've got a document here. It makes sense, there's no spelling mistakes, the sentence structure is okay, but it's all a bit of a pickle. And we're going to use this as an example to look at different ways that we can improve this, make it look a bit more professional. Now the first thing that we're going to look at is the fact that it's got different fonts in it. This is a Calibri heading. This is an Arial, and if we go to the bottom here, this is actually Aptos. So actually all of those are fine for a business reason. They all look professional, but we wouldn't want them mixed. There's very few occasions when you would want to mix your fonts, maybe if you're doing a newspaper article or something like that. But other than that, you would generally just want one because you would want it to look seamless throughout the document. So what we're going to do here is highlight them all, and then we're going to pick one that we want it to move it to, and I'm just going to pick Calibri because it's the top of the list. Now I haven't changed the size, and that's because there might be reasons that I want different sizes. For example, the headers to be bigger than the main text, and certainly I would want the title of the document to be bigger as well. So I'm not going to stipulate that just here. But you can see now, at least we've got a little bit of organisation behind that element. Now that often happens when somebody's copying and pasting things from another document or from an internet source. And depending on how you paste it, it will come in the font that it was originally in, not the font in your document. So it's always good at the end just to make sure that your document's tidied up and that everything is in the same font. Now the next thing we've got is the font sizes, and so if we look at this we can see that this is in size 18, and then as we go down we've got 14, 13, 14. So this one needs to be changed so that it's 14, like the rest of the body of the text. This is 14, 14, 14, that one's 13. So we'll move that one up to 14 as well. So now we've got that streamlined approach. This is 14. This one's 13. So let's change the header. And obviously I don't mind that this one is a bit bigger because it is the title of the document. So that's great. That's evened those out as well. Now, one thing you'll see when we look at this document is they're all slightly different justifications. So what I mean by justifications is, this, for example, is left-hand justified. Now, this has got lots of big gaps in it, and that shows to me that it's actually a justified alignment. And the same is used here. This one is that it's actually justified, but because we've got more words in the sentences, it just looks very odd. So what I'm going to do is select them all and put them all to the left hand. And I'm going to just check that they're all like that. And I'm going to do the same on here too. Okay, so now I know that everything is left hand justified. And again, sometimes you might want things left hand, right hand, centralized. But generally speaking, if you're doing a professional Word document, you would want everything justified in exactly the same form of alignment. Okay. So we've changed our font and we've changed the size, but this looks very different to this. However, this is Calibri 14 and this is Calibri 14. So now we have to ask ourselves what's changed. And in actual fact, this is the space used between the words. These words have been condensed. They're squashed up a little bit more. So although it's the same size and although it's the same font, it does look very different. Now, there are times you might want to do this. Let's just say your page is very slightly going on to the second page of A4 and you really want it to be one. You can decrease the gap between your letters very subtly and it's almost not noticeable. However, I've exaggerated this for a purpose. I really don't think you would want to use this form of spacing in a real document. But how do we correct that? Okay, so this is held within the font section, but we haven't got a quick button for it. So I'm going to pop out the font box. And here we can see all of the normal headers, the sizes, etc., etc. Now, if I go to advanced, here we go. The spacing is condensed. We could be normal. Expanded is obviously stretched. So when you pick condensed, you say how much you want to condense it by. So let's just say I did have a document and it was just slightly over the page and I wanted to get it back. You can do it by 1.1 and it's showing me here what that will look like. Now that's very readable. You can do 1.05, which is even more subtle. But for this occasion, I actually want it to be normal spacing. So I'm going to pick normal, press OK, and here we go. That's the resolve the problem. Now I'm content that the rest of these look fine, so I'm not going to apply that to all of them, but you could, of course, do that to the whole document and make sure all the spacing is aligned throughout the whole document. Now we're going to look at some of our headings, and as we can see here, this is actually just normal text. It's bold and of course it's blue, it's size 14 Calibri. And if I go to here, they've actually used a style. And if I go to here, this is just normal text again. Now having these styles here, and because I've selected blue text, they look blue, but you can change them to anything. What that means is just by clicking one button, everything appears formatted the same. So it's the same font, the same colour, the same size, the same amount of spacing. It just does lots of the hard work for you. So where possible, I would always recommend that you use official styles. So this is heading 2. So I'm going to make this heading 2 as well. I'm going to put this one heading 2. And then here, I'm going to put this one heading 1. And I might want to make it bold. I might want to change it by putting an underline. But essentially now, all of my headings are using the official styles, which is much, much better. Okay, now this paragraph here has got bullet points, and that's absolutely fine. Bullet points are great, but you can see they're all slightly different. I've got a black tick and a coloured tick, a black circle and a black square, and then a white circle. So it doesn't look very uniform. So what we're going to do is pick one here. Now, how do we do that? We go over to the bullet points, and as you can see, the ones you've recently used are stored here. Now, if I want to create a new one, I go to define new bullet, and here I can add the symbol that I want or the picture. It could be a little icon, and then I can change with the alignment. But for the sake of doing this, I'm just going to give them all a black tick. So here we go. That looks much better. It looks much more uniform and far more professional. The last thing I'm going to look at is double spaces. So if we look up here, on this paragraph, it can be quite difficult to see where you've got double spaces. And you get to, once you've worked in Word a lot, you can actually pick them out quite quickly, but it does take a bit of training your brain. Now, what Word will normally do is it will underline words for you where it thinks they've got two spaces, because it appreciates that that's not normal formatting. So here it's suggesting we just need to delete one. I delete one, that's fine. I'm going to question, is there one there? Yes, there is. I told you I'm getting used to this now. Now, sometimes it's confusing. This looks like it's got two. It hasn't. It's only got one, but it's because it's got a comma there as well. So actually, that's just confusing things a little bit. But now we've got rid of those problems. Everything looks much cleaner, much better formatted. It looks far more professional. Of course, here you could do another spell check, another grammar check, for example. Feeling here, it wonders if I've got that sentence wrong. But essentially, everything just looks like it was meant to be, that it flows properly. And so I hope you found this helpful. We do have a couple more Fix My Files in this series. Now we've got two for Excel, one that looks at formulas and one that looks at formats. And then we've got a PowerPoint one too. If you're interested in them, hop over and find those videos. I'm sure you'll find them helpful. Thanks for joining me today.